very thin layer of ice on the canal. I love fishing under bridges in the winter. It's like perch is always staged there. Okay, we're here at the local canal today and we will try to do some fishing even though it's partly iced over. And then I want to show you what I think is the best method for beginners to catch fish, perch, and especially in cold water. It's the Dropshot. It's a very simple rig. We have a braided line as a main line attached to a fluorocarbon leader. Have a double uni knot here, some thin fluorocarbon, and then we have a hook tied with a Dropshot knot that I will link a video how to tie this knot so it's standing outwards from the line. We have a small, just 35mm soft plastic lure and a little pair sinker about 20 cm down from the lure. And I will talk some tips and tricks how to use this rig and why it's so effective at catching perch. Let's see if we can do it. As you can see here, we have a thin, very thin layer of ice on the canal right here, but just up there I think we got an open spot under the bridge, and bridges are usually good in the winter, so let's see if we can find some fish up there. Okay, here we are. We absolutely do not have a lot of water to use. It looks like we have an opening right here. Got my Dropshot rig. I'm gonna throw it out and I'm gonna let it sink all the way to the bottom. You can see it's at the bottom when the line stops moving. So it's still sinking and the line is tightening up. And there, we're at the bottom. I'm keeping my rod high and I'm keeping the line slightly taut. And what's happening right now is that sinker is on the bottom and the lure is about 20 centimeters above that. Quite static. If I make small rod movements like this, just dangling my rod a little bit, then that lure will flicker. But it will stay in the same place, but it will flicker. And when the perch is cold, in general when fish is cold, they become quite static since they are cold-blooded fish. And then they don't really want to chase a lure. They will stand close to the bottom, and if something comes close enough to their nose, they will bite it. So to retrieve the Dropshot, you keep the line taut, rod tip high, you just let it rest, and then with pauses from between 5 to maybe 20 seconds, you reel and you make small taps with the rod tips. That makes your lure flutter a little bit. And when you're pausing it, you can also, without reeling, just make small rod movements to give it just a little bit of movement down there. But a common mistake when fishing the Dropshot is giving it too much movement. And this will actually often deter strikes in cold water. If you don't get a bite in one cast, it's generally a good idea to cast to another direction or another spot rather than recasting at the same exact spot. Because even if you passed by perch with that cast, it's very unlikely that they will bite the second time they see the lure, since they get to see it for such a long time when you're drop shotting. There we go. There we go. First little one. I love fishing under bridges in the winter. It's like the perch is always staged there. Just a small one. Small fella. But a pretty one still. So let's see. If it's cold in the water and you catch one, you can be very certain that there will be more fish close, because they really tend to school up in cold water and spread out in warm water. Oh, I missed one. There we go. Oh, this one is not too shabby. This one. And when you're using an ultralight rod like I am, always be careful of flipping them with a rod tip. Sometimes a good idea is to just grab a hold of the line if it's not a big perch. Oh, and he released himself. Yeah, just as good. I was gonna release him anyway. You can see that I'm just turning my handle very carefully to keep in contact with the lure. Not really to retrieve it, just to keep that line tight enough so that I can feel bites. There. The bites on Dropshot are often very fast. They're like, so you don't need to make a big hook set. Often just quickly lifting the rod tip will be just enough. Because there we go, a pretty little perch, and back he goes. See, I was just keeping it totally still there for maybe half a minute. They will stand and they will look at it, and then finally one of them will bite it. Oh, he's got a little wound on him. It's gonna go back quick. So I had a few bites over there, but they stopped biting. Then I will cast a few casts in some other direction, see if I can find another school, and I will let those perch rest for a little bit. And then I might try to come back there with a cast or two in a few minutes, and often that can be enough to kind of reset the fish and get them to bite again. See, now I found fish in another spot. And on ultralight gear, you know, fish of any size is just a blast to catch. Oh, came off there. I do have my net with me, but for these smaller fellas, I don't mind if they come off. And getting them in the net and tangling them up, I think just does more harm than good for all of us, basically. So I got a few bites, just the first few casts I made over in this direction. Then it seems to have cooled off. Maybe the school got spooked by the fish I caught, or they have simply just moved. But now my other spot has rested for a few minutes, so then I can come back and cast in this direction again. And hopefully they will find the same lure a little bit fresh again, since they haven't seen it for a few minutes. Let's see. There we go. Oh, came off. But yeah, just the third cast after I switched direction from over there to back again here under the bridge, I could get a fish to bite again. There. Oh, probably the tiniest fella of today. And I think with that, we will call it a wrap. Last little one of the day.